righty, it's pre-Friday, a.k.a. Thursday. I hope you're well. It's August 6th, 2026. I was supposed to interview Mirza of the band Siamese. I say supposed to. Well, this morning we recorded the noon hour of Madness and Mayhem, me and FJ, because Victor's out today. And I was talking to FJ about the questions regarding the interview and all of that. And then 10 a.m. came around, and sure enough, I started the Zoom call, waited, and waited, and waited. 15 minutes passed by. I then text the record rep. I say, hey, this Zoom call is halfway over. Can I send you a new link so that way the timer can reset? Because we don't have the paid version of Zoom. Once the timer hits 0, it just automatically ends the call. So I expected him to show up right at 10. Well, it was 10:15 around that time. I set a new Zoom call for 10:30, waited even longer, and then I just gave up around 10:50 this morning. I was actually shopping on the JCPenney website. That's how bored I was. And you know, when we do interviews here in the studio or via Zoom call or any type of interview, we have these in-studio lights on to make it look more professional, make it look better. So I was sitting here with that light on my face for 45 minutes, and I went, enough's enough, and I just told them, you know what, let's reschedule, and we'll see if it even happens, you know. Tomorrow I'm supposed to interview Eric Bickerstaff of the band Loathe, so we'll see if that happens. I did text the record rep. I'm like, you know what, things happen, no big deal. Artists can be flaky. Artists might have things to do. Like Mirza, I know for a fact him and his wife just had their second kid, so I'm sure something came up with the baby. Life happens. It's no big deal. The old me would have been like, I'm never playing Siamese again. Screw those dudes. Now I'm like, hey, you know what? Who cares? It's not like it's a priority to talk to me anyway, to ask them questions about the album or whatever. I am a huge fan of the band Siamese, so when Mirza finally decides to join the show, I'll make sure to let him know that, and I'll fangirl on him just like what every artist wants to hear. I'm a big fan of your music, sir. Anyway, if you want to get a hold of me, you can. 208-535-1015. Peach's Pit Party will continue here in just a few on K-Bear 101. You know what we do best around here? We talk about farts. Yeah, we talk about farts. Vice put out this article 2 days ago talking about how Mr. Rogers, the man, the myth, the legend, got a kick out of farting in public, according to his widow. Joanne Rogers recalled her late husband having a whimsical sense of humor and letting one rip on more than one occasion while they were out at events. Now, could you imagine you meet Mr. Rogers and he just lets it loose and he just goes, did you hear that, neighbor? Did you hear that? You like that one? It's going to smell like tuna. What was his diet like? What did Mr. Rogers eat? That's what I want to know. That's a good question. Let me see if Google has an answer. What did Mr. Rogers eat? Fred Rogers followed a dedicated vegetarian diet starting in the early 1970s, famously stating, I don't want to eat anything that has a mother. Okay, so his breakfast and lunch often kept simple with cereal, fruit, yogurt, cottage cheese with peaches, or crackers. Dinner frequently featured vegetables and plant proteins like tofu and beets, so his farts would have been pretty rank. He was famously fond of tofu burgers, lentil burgers. Oh, lentil burgers. Dude, this guy's farts were toxic. A lot of fiber in his diet if he's eating lentil burgers. Here's Turnstile, Never Enough on K-Bear 101. Peach's Pit Party on K-Bear 101. We talked about farts not that long ago, and now we're talking about terrorizing the elderly. I like how they called this guy a Welsh ghoul, dressed as the Grim Reaper. Now, I thought this story was fake when I saw it pop up on Facebook. I thought it was like some AI-generated image and ChatGPT-generated article, and someone just put it out there, and the picture itself had like 200,000 likes. No, it's a real story. Leon Gillespie was fined about $269 last month. 200 pounds, I should say. Is it pounds? I don't know. The weird-looking L symbol. He was fined $269 last month after scaling the hospital to... he sported a black hooded costume, which he claimed resembled a crow, and armed with a lawn blade, the scythe. He was on top of the building for around 50 minutes just pointing at people. This guy was dressed up as the Grim Reaper, pointing at patients. He was eventually brought down from the building, was charged with causing a nuisance or disturbance without reasonable excuse on National Health Service grounds. Now, if I was a patient in that hospital, I don't think I would find this as funny as I am now, because I'd be scared. I would be legitimately concerned that was the real Grim Reaper pointing at me, and that my life would soon be over. So what is a perfectly legal product that looks extremely suspicious if you buy 40 of them, which I feel like could work for anything, right? It's like if you go to the grocery store and you buy 40 watermelons, you're going to be that guy from the math problem. But I was looking here at some of the answers, like bottles of bleach. What are you doing, man? Baby oil? Even worse. Sudafed, duct tape, plastic wrap, tarps, trash bags, car batteries. Maybe this is what I should do. Wait, who's buying 40 car batteries? Cans of whipped cream. Oh, hey-oh. Hey, it could be Thanksgiving, or you're in for a great time. Know what I mean? Here's Era Black Cloud on K-Bear 101. Dallas Cowboys players have had to deal with bright sunshine coming through windows on the western side of AT&T Stadium because owner Jerry Jones likes the way it looks. He's never on the field. He's an old man. He just likes the way it looks, so he's ruining it for the players. During this summer's World Cup, black curtains were installed to block the sun. And apparently the way it looked on the field had some appeal to Jones, who's previously shut down any attempt to block his precious windows. Jones said at the Cowboys training camp that he's considering tinting the windows because he likes the effects it would have on the rest of the field. I did see a video pop up of players training for that glare. It looks like they're wearing I don't know if they're helmets, or it looks like they're wearing the hats that beekeepers wear to protect their face and neck and everything. One of the players was catching a ball wearing that, and it was quite funny to see. It's on Facebook, YouTube, it's everywhere, if you want to see the video there. The Triple Crown is about to get its first big change in over 100 years. The Preakness announced that it will be moving to 3 weeks after the Kentucky Derby and take place on a Sunday starting next year. The aim is to get more Derby horses to participate in the second leg of the Triple Crown. Less than 15% of horses that have run in the Derby since the pandemic have taken a shot at the Preakness. This move also makes the gap from the Preakness to the Belmont shrink from 3 weeks to just 13 days. So we'll see if the Belmont decides to push things back another week to even things up. And last but not least, starting today, ESPN 8 The Ocho is celebrating a full decade of weirdness. Returning for its 10th anniversary, the network is delivering more than 70 hours of wacky sports chaos across ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, and the ESPN app. Some of the highlights include the Hacky Sack 2026 championship. You get the wiener dog races that my dad and my sister go to all the time at the Los Alamitos racetrack. I think they have so many shirts from those races because, well, they give away these shirts that say "I Heart Wiener." Broom Hockey Championship, the Fire Department Racing, Death Diving League, whatever that is. Blaster Tag Invitational sounds unique. Papa Shot, the ISSA Housekeeping Games, okay, and the Bare Knuckle Fighting Ice Wars. ESPN 8 The Ocho, celebrating a full decade of weirdness starting today. That does it for your Shot Clock Sports Update right here on K-Bear 101. Yesterday I talked about the story about the guy who returned a 150-year overdue library book, and I was like, what was this guy expecting in return? Was he expecting some type of reward for doing so? Because the library is not going to charge you that outrageous late fee, I don't think. It would be funny if that guy all of a sudden was just charged like $2,000 or however much it was. But I was reading here a similar story. This man who shoplifted. So the other guy just found the book like in a tea box, buried in his chimney or something like that. This guy just legitimately shoplifted a booklegger in Eureka 40 years ago. He shoplifted this place in Eureka 40 years ago. He just mailed the book back with an apology note and a $100 bill. Good for him. You know what? Took him 40 years to realize his mistake. And so now it's returned. The letter reads as follows. Booklegger, I'm returning this Edward Gorey first edition to you because I stole it from the store sometime in the early 1980s. I was a student at HSU with a horrible drug and alcohol problem. I was in desperate need of money, but even more desperately needed a spiritual awakening in my life. I was eventually blessed with just such a psychic change. I proceeded to clean up my past and make something meaningful out of my life. Somehow this little book escaped my notice for 20 years until I came across it cleaning out my garage last week. I was so happy to find that the store was still in business so I could return the book and tell you how sorry I am for my utter lack of principles. I do believe it has increased in value while waiting to be rediscovered in its cardboard box. I hope that you and the store are thriving up there on the beautiful Humboldt Bay. I was the chef at the waterfront oyster bar for a while and miss it. Good. Okay, cool. Nice. Neat. What a story to talk about. I guess that was something. Sleep Token, Emergence here now on K-Barrett 101. Five Finger Death Punch on K-Barrett 101, Idaho's only rock station. You know how people now are obsessed with smart glasses. You see those Instagram reels, those TikToks all the time of people wearing those, sometimes for good, sometimes for bad. I've seen the pranks pop up. The pranks sometimes are funny, but I have been watching this guy. I believe he uses them to record his experiences at restaurants that have no customers, and he tries his best to promote those restaurants. It's a very nice series because you see the follow-ups to his original videos of him visiting there when there's no customers, and then when he shows back up, his followers will show up in droves and help the place in sales, help discover these no-named restaurants or whatever. Well, DuckDuckGo got tired of all these different AI-powered smart glasses being available, or I think they just took a shot at Meta. Because Meta has the AI-powered smart glasses that are getting people in trouble because they can record anything and anywhere, and people are using them to record, other people's body parts and things like that, So DuckDuckGo decided, you know what, we're going to make this pair of sunglasses that's completely normal. No AI, no nothing, just a normal pair of bleep sunglasses. They're called normal bleep sunglasses, all right? And they completely sold out. 100%. That's it. DuckDuckGo said no camera, no AI, just normal sunglasses. Yes, these are actually real. Get a pair here. Let me go to the link. They were on sale for $35. Oh, it says I can pre-order them? They're not expected to ship until November. Did they sell out completely and then they have to now get everything ready again? Product highlights, charge life infinite because there's nothing to charge. Zero cameras, seamless offline mode, zero notifications, guaranteed. You know what? Good for DuckDuckGo. That's funny. Peach's Pit Party right here on K-Bear 101. I shared my interview with Jacob Bannon of Converge. At least he showed up on time, unlike Mirza of Siamese earlier today. Jacob Bannon was a rather cool guy, and he's definitely an artist, and I feel like he would be insulted if people were trying to use AI slop for whatever, And there are those people out there that are heavily against AI slop. I myself don't really care for the AI posters that people try to put out there on Facebook for stupid local events. I've seen plenty of people try sharing AI-generated posters in the K-Bear 101 Idaho Rock and Metal Facebook group. These posters have so much text on them that it's hard to read. Less is better when it comes to visual marketing, visual advertising. You can talk to Star down the hall all about that if you really wanted to. I have seen this Series 2 online of this guy going around the Orange County Fair trying to spot all the different AI-generated posters that he can find, and there's tons of them. I mean, literally every food vendor had an AI-generated poster. Well, an AI poster caused some controversy after winning the Ohio State Fair contest. The AI-generated poster took home a first-place prize, which included $1,000. Professional and amateur artists were allowed to enter the contest. The theme of the contest was to celebrate America's 250th anniversary and highlight Ohio's history. Now, let's see here. Oh, this is definitely ChatGPT generated. Are you kidding me? This is like the most stereotypical AI-generated poster that I have ever seen. It has that dumb font that ChatGPT likes to use. There's all these things that just don't make sense. Yeah, the other posters look so much better compared to this piece of crap. There was somebody in the subreddit. I shared my Converge Jacob Bannon interview in the Converge subreddit, and some guy was like, "Is that intro AI?" I'm like, "No, dude. It's an interview. Like I was given that art that our graphics department came up with." And I put that and we have that as the intro for all the Artist Interrogations podcast videos. Check it out on our YouTube, KBear101 RMG. You know, I've talked about it quite a lot as of late. FJ and I have talked about it. I turned 30 at the end of the month. It's National Peach Month. August 29th is my birthday. And I'm planning to go home and go be with my friends and family. And also celebrate my dad's birthday, which happens to be on September 2nd. And, well, I haven't reached, apparently, the age of peak happiness. Because here, it says 47 years old is the age you hit peak happiness. People who are 47, Kourtney Kardashian, James Corden, Zoe Saldana. I don't know why this article had to mention that. Apparently, as people get older, many begin to realize that health isn't just about what's visible, this person explained. It's about how you feel and how well your body functions. I find as I get older, the more calm I get, which is nice. When I first started here at the young age of 24, I was stressed out by a lot of things. I was all over the place. And now, 6 years later, 30, you know? I still have 17 years until I'm 47, until I'm truly happy, I guess. K-Bear 101, it's Peach's Pip Party. Adults are confessing the basic facts they just recently discovered. I was looking at this BuzzFeed article here. Someone said, I thought the Mount Rushmore faces occurred naturally by coincidence. That's just stupidity right there. I mean... There is nothing quite like the humbling realization that you've somehow missed an obvious fact for the better part of your life. So this person said, as a child, I didn't immediately understand how sending a fax worked and thought the paper traveled through the wire. Up until about 5 years ago, I thought the person who read the disclaimer during commercials just talked super fast, then realized they just sped the audio up. So there was two things this person admitted here. I've done commercials where I've tried to talk... They told me to speak in a monotone manner and do it sort of fast. And of course, they speed it up and it sounds rather cool. It sounds like I'm rapping. It sounds like Eminem Rap God, you know? The little piggy who went to the market wasn't actually grocery shopping. That's because the piggy was getting slaughtered. This is a great one. I thought McGraw-Hill textbooks were made by Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. I was shocked to learn they move the holes around in golf. I thought they always stayed in the same place. Wait, what? I didn't realize that either. What else is on this thread? I used to think that... Okay, we can't talk about that one. The McDonald's coffee incident was an old woman is too stupid to realize the coffee is hot. There was that incident in 1992 where this 79-year-old woman by the name of Stella Liebeck suffered third-degree burns from McDonald's coffee that was served to her at 190 degrees Fahrenheit. She initially only asked McDonald's for $20,000 to cover her medical bills. McDonald's countered with just $800, which forced the case to trial. Stella ended up winning $2.7 million. That still doesn't explain the old woman was just too stupid to realize that coffee is hot. Like, what are you talking about? Did she order the coffee? Or did she order chocolate milk and then was given coffee? I'm still on the side that she was just too stupid, drank it, and went, oh, I'm going to blame it on McDonald's for giving me this coffee. I mean, I thought Elton John was blind because he wore those wild sunglasses and sat at a piano like Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles. This is a funny thread. All right, I'm going to keep reading this while Olivia Rodrigo plays here on K-Bear. Autumn Kings on K-Bear 101, Idaho's only rock station. For a long while, all I ate for either breakfast or lunch were the Smucker's Uncrustables. That's before I started this whole diet and everything. And Smucker's Uncrustables, they're quick and easy. You would put them in the fridge overnight to thaw, and then you would take them out in the morning, put them in your little lunchbox, and go on your merry way, right? Well, Uncrustables is making its whole lineup fridge-friendly. Finally, fridge-friendly, meaning no more waiting around for a thaw. Starting this summer, which I don't know when that's going to be because it's already August 6th, and are they out yet? You'll be able to keep them in the fridge for up to 5 days or stash them in the freezer longer. There's also going to be 2 higher protein morning flavors. There's 2 higher protein morning flavors already doing this now. Up in apple and bright-eyed berry. So, food news here on K-Bear, talking about Uncrustable peanut butter and jelly sandwiches finally being fridge friendly. The thing that I would do, besides take it from the freezer to the fridge, have it thaw overnight, then bring it to work, I would also put it in the toaster oven. And then I stopped doing that because, well, the toaster oven, I guess people were just that messy. I'm blaming the East Idaho news people because they make a mess of everything. They must have been coming to our side of the building and just chucking stuff in the toaster oven that we have here, because I'd put 2 Smucker's Uncrustables in that toaster oven, and I would toast them for a little while. But the other food that was already in there, like those bits and pieces that were caked at the bottom, would just burn, and it smelled like I was burning down the place. And Justin from 105 The Hawk, whose studio's right there, he started freaking out, started putting on this Oscar-worthy performance of like, Peaches is burning down the break room, and starts screaming and running up and down the hallway like, you know. And so I stopped toasting them, and now I've just stopped eating them, because apparently the food that I eat here causes problems. Like the hard-boiled eggs, the shells were everywhere, apparently, everywhere. I think they're over-exaggerating. They like to over-exaggerate around here. All right, here we go. A nice list of animals that will most likely kill you based on the state you live in. Let's talk about this, because why not? America is, buzzing, crawling, slithering, and stomping with creatures that can ruin your day or your life. And depending on where you live, the biggest threat might surprise you. Let's talk about New York's deadliest pest, the mosquito. You would think it would be the rat, because it's most of the time the rattiest city in America. It's always between New York and Chicago. And they have this ongoing battle on who has more rats and which places rats cause the most problems. Texas and Floridians had better keep an eye on the water, because the alligators are the deadliest animal. Kentucky, Massachusetts, Tennessee, Wisconsin, and Oregon are all in black bear country, so watch your step in the woods. And then out west, Idaho, Montana, Washington decided to turn things up a notch with grizzlies, because regular bears just weren't terrifying enough. I thought it would be the bison, to be quite honest with you, because of all of those Turons making their way to... Well, that's in... Never mind. It's not Idaho, because technically Yellowstone's not in Idaho. I'm stupid. Sorry. Anyway. Well, is it technically... No, it's in Wyoming, right? As stupid as that sounds. Because I know there's parts in Idaho, parts in Wyoming, right? I'm looking it up right now. Forget it. I'm just going to forget I even said anything and just move on to Mafra. Doomed. Shine down on K-Bear 101, Idaho's only rock station. I was looking at this BuzzFeed thread. 17 clueless, careless, and downright crass pearls of boomer wisdom that left millennials absolutely flabbergasted. Every generation thinks the generation born after them is dumber than they were at the same age, and in many cases that is true, as age does often equal wisdom. But, however, when one doesn't or refuses to keep up with the ever-changing world around them, their advice probably isn't the most reliable. Like my dad has often talked to me about Christmas bonuses. I'm like, Dad, those don't exist. They haven't existed for a long time. Christmas bonuses, usually you get like a $25 Amazon gift card, and they go, there you go, there's your present. It's like, yay. Can't wait to buy something small off of Amazon and wait 2 days to get it. My dad's like, yeah, I used to get like $500 in a Christmas bonus. Oh, good for you. Anyway. I was reading here. Somebody put, I was getting my master's degree when a guest lecturer came in. He had been the CEO of a small company for many years and told us that he basically stumbled into the job right out of college because he didn't know what to do and gave it a shot. They gave him the assistant CEO position because he had been the assistant manager at a movie theater for a summer. And 2 years later, he became the CEO. He was basically telling an entire class to get their advanced degrees in the hopes of getting the position that he got on a whim 30 years ago. You never know what might happen. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, So if you are looking for something new, hireeastidaho.com. Apply for any local job here in the area. Idaho's only rock station, K-Bear 101. I keep seeing these posts about Eli Roth's new movie, Ice Cream Man, about how it's supposed to be like the worst movie ever. I don't know if it's in the, I think it's in the pre-screening stage. It's not actually, what is the actual release date? Let me see here. August, oh, wait, no, it comes out tomorrow. Eli Roth's horror slasher Ice Cream Man will be released August 7th. It's an hour and 26 minutes long. Now, usually, a short horror movie like this is never going to be good, in my opinion. If you see a horror movie that's an hour and 26 minutes, it's just going to be a whole bunch of shock, especially when it comes to slasher. It's already rated 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, and there were tons of people that I saw, at least, posting about how awful the movie is. Apparently, there's blatant use of AI, but besides that, it's just an awful, dumb movie, which I don't know if I'll pay money to go see. Maybe I'll stupidly watch it one night and go, wow, that was terrible, and then just move on from there when it's available on streaming. Peach's Pit Party on K-Bear 101, Idaho's only rock station. So, Maddie from down the hall, who has popped up on the show plenty of times. She is in charge of the graphics around here. Tons of things. She's a downright cool person. And she's done the concert photography. Any single time we post photos of these artists looking all cool on stage, it's because Maddie put herself in the photo pit, started getting all the best pictures of these artists out here. So, yeah, Maddie's the best. And so she is going to sacrifice her old Subaru and race in the crazy figure eight car races Saturday, August 14th at the Madison County Fairgrounds. She is going to hopefully either get it towed or I forgot exactly what, because she was having some water pump issues with the whole. I'm not a mechanic in any way, shape, or form. I look at a car and go, okay, that's a car. But as soon as you lift the hood, I'm lost. Maybe I should know. I should know how to change a tire, but do I? No, because I'm stupid. Well, we're going to be giving away some passes, I believe, to the crazy figure eight car races. So that way we can all cheer Maddie on. We can have this whole section. I was just talking with Jeff FJ about showing up and supporting her at the Madison County Fairgrounds. And just we have this giant fat head of Maddie. We just, put that in the air. She was thinking about putting K-Bear all over her vehicle, too. And I think she's been talking about doing something like this for the longest time, too. So, yeah, we'll certainly be there to cheer her on. Do you want a good old Florida man story for today's What the Headline? Let's do it. This guy's facing felony charges after authorities say he threatened two repo workers who were trying to tow away his truck. He wasn't happy that his truck was being repossessed, so he climbed into the vehicle, grabbed a tomahawk that was already in there, and approached the workers. At one point, he even used the weapon to strike the tow cable. The workers told investigators they feared for their safety, no doubt about that. The guy later admitted he intended to scare them into stopping the repossession, which I don't think that would have worked, because those guys, I think, experience that quite often. I mean, there's a whole series. I forgot exactly what the guy's page's name is, but he's been online just posting all these horrible encounters with people trying to repossess their cars. It seems like a terrible job. Wasn't there a game show years ago? I believe it was called Repo Wars. Let me see here. When was that on TV? Repo Wars, was that it? Yeah, it was like this buff dude. Yeah. He was like going to repossess these vehicles, and if they answered the questions correctly, he would return the car back to them. But if they got it all wrong, then of course the car would get repossessed and they would have to pay all this money just to get their car back. All of that. Repo Wars, yeah. I'm sure that show was extremely fake, without a doubt. When did this air? Does it say anywhere? Oh, it first aired in 2011. When did it stop? Anyway, but yeah, that's today's What the Headline right here on K-Barrel 101. As I was doing my research trying to learn more about Mirza, the vocalist of the band Siamese, I was supposed to interview him this morning, but that didn't happen because, well, he just never showed up for the Zoom call. So I found out, though, through my research, that he is a big sports guy. And by sports, I mean soccer and bicycling, or cycling, which, I mean, the two are barely sports. And anyway, but usually when you drive around and you see a group of these people wearing the latex outfits, the racing bicycle helmets, they look all dumb. You see groups of like 15 to 20 of them taking up the middle of the road, and you're like, get out of the way. Go on the sidewalk. But the Tour de France is like the complete opposite of that, because you're supposed to watch them and cheer them on. But those are actual professional cyclists, They're racing, they're trying their best to get the fastest time possible. Well, I was reading here that these female Tour de France these female Tour de France cyclists were wearing padded bras because, according to like aerodynamics, it makes them go faster. So they quickly banned any sort of padding to bras. Like, these women were stuffing their bras completely to be faster out there on the track or the streets or wherever. So yeah, the Tour de Boob Check. I love the name of that. Here's Greta Van Fleet, Play Your Games on K-Barrel 101. K-Barrel 101, Idaho's only rock station. I love this. I feel like all bands should do it if they have skin that's thick enough. Queens of the Stone Age, they've launched a new hotline for fans to lodge their complaints about anything. Fans can call this number, 760-437-1966, to air their gripes and grievances, moans and groans, charging, carping, and any judgments they wish to pass. The line's motto is, they added, I can't say that. No bleep too big, no whiny too tiny. The band says that each complaint will apparently be reviewed personally, and that some callers might end up speaking with a live ear at the other end of the line. Sometimes people just need to complain, and Queens of the Stone Age are here to listen. Sometimes we open up the K-Bear complaint line, and usually it's the same old thing, like, why don't you play this no-named band? Stop playing this popular band. Stop playing Sleep Token. Why don't you play Amon Amarth a whole lot more? What about this band? Get rid of that Peaches guy. Get rid of that Victor Wilt guy. Same old stuff. But I wish we did have a dedicated number to that complaint line. What we usually do, usually people who like to complain, they'll hide from us and go call the front desk or whatever. They won't call us personally, talk to us. They'll try to go to other outlets and hide, because that's what complainers do. They also try to hide online, because it's so much easier to type something out than it is to actually talk to somebody about your issues with them. Thanks for listening to Peach's Pit Party, the podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please share, subscribe, and rate the podcast. Peach's Pit Party is hosted by me, Peaches, a.k.a. Brendan Peach, and is a production of Riverbend Media Group. For more information or to contact the show, visit riverbendmediagroup.com. Until next time, Peach out.